How you doing, guys? This is in fact, before I start, you may notice that the video quality isn't quite what it should be. The reason being is I was using my sort of fancy dancy digital camera, which I think outputs at was it 1080i or something, or P whatever it is. Um, the problem was, because I'm now trying to use intros and outros, my PC isn't the quickest. I mean, my PC is probably 5, 6 years old, and it's just taking forever. I mean, it took about 2.5 hours to render quite a short video, so that's not really practical. I mean, I was almost at the point of ditching intros, but you know what? I mean, Monkey Spies 5000 has gone to a lot of bother to make the intro, and I think it's brilliant. I really think it's great. And my little outro, which I made using PowerPoint, which you can probably tell, I really like having these. I think they make the videos look a bit more professional, so I want to keep them in, but for my PC to take that length of time to render it isn't much good. So I've gone back to the original little camera thing that I'm using just now. It's not HD, but you know what, it doesn't really bother me. Hopefully you guys don't mind it either. But this is a video response to Lon Boy's post 1975. He was asking the question, at what point do you feel that you're playing too much video games? That, I would probably say, like a lot of people back in the 80s, it was a problem for me when I was 16, 17. I mean, when other guys were going out on the pool, going to clubs, etc. Well, not at 16 years old enough, but they were going out, getting pished and all that kind of stuff. I spent way too much of my time from, I say, 16, 17, 18 years old playing video games. I mean, as I mentioned, I think my dad thought it was bloody gay because I was never going out and looking for a girlfriend, because I was just sat in my room for about 3 years. You know what, maybe it wasn't as much as 3 years, but I would say for over the summer holidays, and when I wasn't, in fact I didn't get a computer when I was at school. I'd actually started working. Virtually all my time was spent sat in my bedroom playing my Commodore 64. Weekends, yep, Friday night, Saturday night, me and my couple of mates would go out, get drunk, look at girls, but we're all too shy to talk to them, so we never actually really got anywhere. I mean, I was 21 before I got my first real girlfriend. I had a girlfriend at 17, but she dumped me to concentrate on her exams. So I played way too many video games as a teenager, which probably was the case for most of the people watching this. I'm guessing you did the very same. Moving on, I mean, I've had a computer from, what would it be, 17 years old. So it'd be 1984, right through to about 1990, and then I was getting married. I got engaged. This is what you did back in the 80s, or back in the early 90s. I got engaged to get married, and as you do, you have to save up to get married, save up for your house. Now my wife to be, she had some savings. I didn't. I had bugger all. So I thought the very least I could do, and it seemed like a good idea at the time, was to sell my computer. So I sold my Commodore Amiga. So for about a year, I think, maybe slightly more, I don't know, I didn't have any computer at all. Now, sat here with Christ knows how many systems, that seems like an unbelievable thing that I did. I couldn't imagine not having a video game system of some sort. So I didn't have anything for about a couple of years. Then I think I got my Commodore 64 back. Then eventually got an Amiga and blah blah blah. That's not the point in this video. But yeah, I did play way too much as a teenager. When I got married in, bloody hell, I can't even tell you when it was, in 1991. I don't know when it was. Got married in 1991, and the computer was a very integral part of my life, shall we say, and probably too much so. I mean, I would get in for work, I would have my dinner, whatever. My wife, she would be downstairs, and I would go upstairs to my computer room. I mean, that's what it was called, the computer room. I would go up and sit in the computer, and you know what, looking back, I probably spent far too much time. I probably should have spent more time with her than I did playing computer games. And then, needless to say, I mean, I got the Amiga, I got a PC, you know, SNES and that kind of stuff. Needless to say, I mean, after 6-7 years, we parted company. And, you know, looking back, I mean, there was other things going on. You know, I'm not going to go into that on this thing, but there was other things going on. But I would say, you know, at the time, if she had accused me of spending too much time playing video games, I would probably, you know, it would have got my back up, and I would have argued to the heavens that that was, you know, was a lot of rubbish. Looking back, I would probably say that I did spend far too much time, and not enough time on what's important. Unfortunately, I didn't. So yeah, got divorced, and then about a year later, I met the girl of my dreams. Got married. Well, I'll start again. We moved in together. She had a couple of kids, 3 kids, I should say. Moved in together, and it was absolutely fantastic. But then, before long, once the sort of the passion, shall we say, had died down, I started using my computer more and more and more and more. And yeah, you know what? Probably looking back again, it played its part in this parting company. Yeah, again, there was lots of other things. She changed. I don't know why. Her personality changed quite a bit, and you know, it got to a point the relationship became quite difficult to endure, and we parted company, and it was a relief to me, to say the least. But yeah, again, I would probably, thinking back, again, I probably spent way too much time on the computer. She was one of these people. She wanted, when she was watching, well, it wasn't Strictly Come Dancing, that didn't exist, thank God, back then, but when she was watching the TV, she wanted me to be sat next to her on the settee watching what she was watching. She didn't like the idea that I was in a different room. In fact, at the time, our computer was in the kitchen. So it meant when she was in the living room watching whatever, I was in the kitchen on the computer. And that isn't a healthy setup. It's not. You know, as I says, we eventually parted company, and again, I would definitely say that the computer, I wouldn't say an addiction. Maybe it is an addiction. Maybe I was living in denial, but okay, we'll call it an addiction. The computer addiction probably did play its part, and again, another breakup, which I wasn't particularly proud of, but you know what, shit happens. Now, I mean, my relationship, got my wife, and I've got a little girl. She's my own little girl. She's only child, and I think we've got quite a good a balance. In fact, I don't know why I'm talking about this, because this is going into relationships, and I know Lon Boy's post wasn't about relationships, but I'm trying to give you a bit of background as to my gaming habits. Now, I mean, we've been together, is it 12 years, 13 years, something like that. I think we have a very good balance. I mean, I've now got, in the last 4 years, I've now built up. I've gone from having what was like a computer and, you know, an Xbox 360 to having just a silly amount of consoles. You know, don't know. I think at the last count, since I've set up my Atari Jaguar, I've now got. Pardon me, that's another one to add to the list. So yeah, I must have about 18 consoles, computers, consoles, whatever you want to call it, all set up and ready to go. So yeah, plenty of games to play. But yeah, going back to, I mean, my wife, she's not the type of person that wants me sat next to her. In fact, she would get quite uncomfortable if I was sitting next to her. She would, you know, when she's watching her Strictly Come Dancing or bloody Dancing on Ice, whatever the hell it is they call it now, the last thing she would want would be me to be sitting beside her watching that. You know, she would rather I was away doing my own thing, whether it was going out for a run or playing video games or going up to my games room. So she does not have a problem with me being upstairs in my games room, and because of that, now, I mean, because it's not a problem, technically I could come up here and sit. I could come in for work, have my dinner, walk the dogs, go for my run, whatever it is I do, and I could probably sit up here for 2-3 hours every single night, 7 days a week if I wanted. But I'm not going to do that. Because, well, you know, I'm not going to do that because that wouldn't be fair. You know, video games it's a big part of my life. As are other things. I says I've got my running that I do, it takes up a lot of time. But my family will always come before this. I mean, I says I'm lucky that my wife, she's not the type that, she's not a kind of clingy type. She doesn't want me to be sat with her the whole time. And my daughter's getting grown up now and she's kind of doing her own thing. She likes to be in her bedroom doing whatever it is 10-year-old girls do, watching your YouTube and all this other sort of stuff. So yeah, we although we gel very well as a family, we do like to have our own space. And for me, I find that really, really good. It gives me time to make these videos for starters. It gives me time to, I mean, our main computer is now downstairs. It's in the living room, and it's actually right beside sort of the settee. So it means if I'm on the computer uploading things like this, or doing whatever it is I do, watching YouTube channels, surfing the internet as you do, I can be having a conversation. Whereas I says before, in a previous relationship, the computer was in a different room, and it meant that when I was upstairs, there was no contact, and that's not healthy. But yeah, going back to, I've not even touched on actual playing games itself, but yeah, so now I've got more time to play games. I could probably put in 3-4 hours a night if I want, you know, if I wanted. I'm not going to do that. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. I know I keep harping on about it, but maybe I'm more aware of time is running out, and I've got a lot of things that I want to do in my time. I mean, it's funny, in the last sort of couple of years, I seem to have just got involved in a lot of things. I mean, my dad, God rest his soul, I mean, he passed out a couple of years ago. My dad was in his late 70s, and he started up his own web page, and he got involved in everything. I mean, for an old age pensioner, which what he was, let's be honest, he was involved in that much. I says he had this community that grew up around his website. It's basically, he started a website about his birthplace, Leith in Edinburgh. And so he got involved in a lot of things, and in the last few years I've been doing the same thing. I don't know whether I'm guessing there's a kind of a personality trait that some people have, and I certainly have it, whereby I like to be involved in things. I mean, I've got my running, I've got all my running friends, I've got my races and that kind of stuff that I do. I've got my video games, so I've got YouTube, I've got my forums, I've got the YouTube community, which I really enjoy. That's quite a new thing. I've been a member of a sort of a retro gaming forum, or games forum I should call it, I would say, for about 13 years. So I've got all my mates in that, so that takes up a bit of my time. What else? I'm a member of Edinburgh Retro PC, which is a local retro club. We do our podcasts. Don't know where I find the time to do this stuff. So yeah, I never seem to sit down for any more than a couple of minutes. So I don't have the time to invest in playing games for hours and hours and hours. I could probably do it if I wanted to, but I'm not prepared to do that. Let's be honest, or as far as I'm concerned, life is too short to spend playing games non-stop. I mean, I've a mate who'll he'll buy a game, you know, and he'll put in 60 hours into it, and to my mind, or in my opinion, that is a waste of time. I'm not knocking him. Great that he enjoys that, but I couldn't even fathom putting 60 hours into a video game, because if you complete it, so what? I don't get the whole completing thing. I know that's the best way to get sort of value for money out of a game, is to complete it, but I personally wouldn't want to invest that amount of time in gaming. So yeah, my gaming nowadays tends to be, I make up these mashup videos. I mean, what was I playing the other night there? I put the Spectrum on. In fact, no, it was last night. I was playing, what the hell was it? I was playing a BBC game, can't remember for the life of me what it was. So yeah, I like to I'll play games for maybe an hour, maybe half an hour, whatever. Because I'm more into my sort of old retro games, the games I do play tend to be games that you can dip into for 5 minutes, have a quick go. 1942, dip in for 5-10 minutes, whatever. The days of investing hours and hours and hours into video games isn't something that I'd probably consider doing anymore. So yeah, I don't think I do play too many video games. I spend a lot of time in talking about video games, doing these YouTube things and that, but I certainly don't play that. I don't know, I'd probably say a couple of hours a week I actually put into physically playing games. My interest has gone beyond playing them. I enjoy talking about them, I enjoy looking at boxes and just watching YouTube videos of people reviewing them and whatever. I enjoy the scene, but actual playing them I don't play that much now. But yeah, it certainly was a problem for me quite a few years ago. It definitely was a problem. I did play too many video games, and that was probably part of the reason that unfortunately the relationships broke down. But anyway, we're getting a bit too serious. But yeah, that's. I hope you enjoyed watching it, guys. And as usual, appreciate any comments. And if you do like these things, maybe consider subscribing. And as usual, thanks for watching.